Hi and welcome back to the channel. I'm Sam and this is a Crafty Blinder van build. In today's video we're building the kitchen units, probably the hardest part of this build for me because there's so many services in one area and so many appliances that all need supplied and arranged in the correct orientation. When I decided to convert this van, I had no idea where things were going to go. I thought as the van build developed, it would become more obvious where things should go. We knew where the shower was going to go, we knew where the bed was going to go. But when it comes to the kitchen, I had no idea the layout, how it would work, and even now, I don't know if it still works. I did, however, know that it needed to be strong and lightweight. I went with 9mm ply and some plain square edge 2x1. All that left me to do then was face up the exposed edges with furniture board, again reducing the weight because I'm only covering the parts that you will actually see. I also made the choice to make single units, thinking this would help me find the perfect layout, the perfect configuration of where the appliances are going to be, where the sink's going to be, where the cooker's going to be. And I thought this would give me the opportunity to move things around. However, it proved not to be the strongest idea and I did have to alter it later on in the build. Just like every other stage in this build, there's a lot of cutting to be done. But I found a little hack. The guys who I buy my boards off will rip them down to any size I want, free of charge. So that saves me a lot of time and a lot of effort. So before I go to the yard, I work out where my cuts need to be, and I just get them guys to do it. That only leaves me the short cuts to do. All the long cuts have been taken care of. I use a lightweight piece of aluminium angle as a fence. I run the jigsaw up against this, and it's set back 38mm away from the cut line, and this gives me a perfect straight edge every time. So these are the carcasses. This material will be used to make the carcass for the cooker, sink unit, and cooker, sink and fridge. So knock these up, build the drawers later, and then fit them to a little 500 unit for the drawers below the sink. So we're cutting this to 870, that'll leave us 30mm on the top, leaving the finished worktop level at 900. Nice comfortable height, 900, if you can say that. Get a slightly different measurement too. Slightly different. So let's move this where we want it. For some reason there's a discrepancy between the size that I measured out and what's been cut. So to mirror the first piece, I've taken the measurements off that. And when we cut the second piece, it will be an exact copy of the first. Still all usual. Measure it again. There we are. It always pays to double check, and I probably over check, to be honest. So These are the instructions from Thetford. I couldn't remember who I bought it off of, for the cooker. So it's telling you that you need to have a dropout. This is your carcass. This is your frame in for your cooker to sit in. So there's an 80mm that needs to be left at the back, which we'll definitely have. The shelf needs to only be long enough to support the cooker. So any gas that may leak from this point here, or the appliance itself, will drop down and exit the vehicle. So it's quite straightforward, to be honest. These distances here are quite critical. Number 7. So I've built my carcasses at 550, so I can trim them down to fit nice and snug. But that's the minimum distance I can leave between there and there. So I will leave a little bit more because we have a little bit of room to play with as well. So let's get cracked on. Once I had all the parts on my cut list, it was just a matter of assembling them. And to help support the screws and keep everything rigid, I'm using PVA glue on a number of these joints. I'm building the carcass out of 9mm because each side is going to be clad with 15mm furniture board. So might be a bit flimsy at the minute, but once we get everything put into it, it'll be more than robust. I realised quite early on in the van build that power tools aren't for every job. Some jobs need a little bit more finesse, and this is where the hand tools come in. I realised power tools end up splitting wood, damaging wood, and sometimes it's just nice to go back to basics, and hand tools it is. You end up splitting less wood as well, in all honesty. However, the downside is it does take a little bit longer and your forearms get a good workout. Having already marked up and pre-drilled the location for the strainers, again it was just a matter of screwing them all into place. These supports don't only add strength to the structure, they're also what we're going to use to secure the unit to the side of the van. As we progress through the build, the structure starts to take on a lot more strength, becoming a lot more rigid. And because we chose the materials that we did, it's still very, very light. I think the last time I used PVA glue, I was still at school. I was sticking bits of plastic to cardboard. I hadn't realised what a useful tool this is. I hadn't realised how much strength it adds to the work that you're doing. And I only found out when I had to take something apart. I ended up having to run a saw between the pieces of wood to separate them, because if I'd tried to pry them off, it would have just delaminated the ply boards. Another little trick I picked up: if you put your screw through the board and leave it protruding about 1mm, this will act as like a grip. So when you put your piece of wood in, you can adjust it and get it to the right place before you start physically putting the screw in. Happy days. It was then just a matter of offering up the cooker. Make sure it fits, make sure it's nice and snug. It is still a little bit flimsy. The strength won't come until the end, until we start bolting everything together. All that's left to do now is build the sink unit and the drawer unit. Just realised that I've mounted the back support in the wrong place, so I'm having to re-drill it and move it. The back of these units have about 50 to 60 mil of sacrificial wood, so that means I can scribe it into position and make sure everything's nice and snug really. And that's my sink unit finished. In the bottom there's going to be a pull-out drawer, a microwave above it, and at the very top we're going to have a sink, and this is the material we'll be able to cut to allow the sink to sit in. So let's go and offer it up beside the others. And this is what it looks like. This is the orientation that we settled with. We've got the cooker on the left away from the door so the wind can't affect it if it's a windy day when we're cooking. We've kept the sink to the right hand side because basically nobody likes washing up, so if you've got a bit of a view it makes life easier. Microwave directly underneath, and on the very bottom there's going to be two push to open drawers, and above the fridge is going to be our cutlery drawer. Good morning. Well, we're in a different place today, somewhere I don't think you've ever been. We're in the garage. We managed to get it cleared out. Got a few little projects for people that I've still haven't finished, so I decided yesterday to get on and get some of them finished. I have another project of my own that I haven't quite finished yet. Well, there's two there. We'll get them done, but yeah, we're in the garage. We're in the garage for a reason. We're making our kitchen pod. So let me see if I can turn this round. Will it turn round? No. So we have the carcasses that I made a couple of weeks ago. They had quite a bit of sacrificial space on the back of them, so they've been trimmed down. They're now being scribed into the side of the van. There's only one to scribe in really. Everything else fits pretty well. So that's our job today. Make these base units and then kind of like fit them. I've got to find a worktop yet. I haven't made my mind up. I was looking at Korean. Great stuff, easy to work with, but I just can't find anyone local who stocks it. And to be honest with you, I don't want a lot. I just 1500 millimeters, just enough to do the worktop, the sink, little chopping area, a little prepper area, sorry, and around the back and side of the cooker. So just struggling to find anybody to supply it, but we'll not give up. We might find it yet, but I still need to do something for the worktop. And I'll be honest with you, the worktop thickness governs where we position the cooker. So that part of the setup can't be finished off really until I make that decision. I might just go and buy some today, get on with it, bite the bullet, and go and buy some solid wood worktop or a piece of oak or something. Oh, nearly dropped you there. So we'll go and get on with that today. So this is the back of the sink unit. As you can see, I've scribed a line, well, several lines on there, and then I remembered I had this bit of kit, little compass. Somebody will probably be able to tell me the proper name for it, but little compass kit. And what I've done is I scribed the line in, and that line fits the van nigh on perfectly. So I just needed to move it across a little bit because I have so much material on the back of these cupboards that needs cutting off. I needed to take a bit more off, so rather than straighten it off, rescribe and do all that, I've just extended the line by running the compass along one edge and just stepping it in. So it's done the job. Let's get it cut. Originally I built two cabinets, the oven cabinet and this one is a microwave cabinet. There's a push to open, say, larder drawer on the bottom, and on the bottom of this one there'll be a push to open pan drawer. In the centre that was going to have a drawer across this area here and the fridge. So when I tried to fit it all in the van, it didn't really work that well, so I've decided that I would need to make a pod. So this would have all the services connected up, the gas pipes coming out this end, so they would connect up in the garage area of the van, and I could set all the electrics to be plugged in down behind the fridge, or a little bit higher than the fridge, than the bottom. You know, there's a space just below the worktop layer there where I can plug everything in. So I can plug the microwave in, which will be in this section. That'll plug in, and the fridge can plug in. When I originally designed all this, I was making them as standalone units. That didn't work, so we've gone with the pod idea. But the more I look at it, the more I need to change things. So I made these top pieces more like a traditional home cabinet. So you would cut in your basin area into this piece of wood. I'll be honest with you, I don't need to do that. It's a very small sink, so the sacrificial material I can take out. What I need is strength in this arrangement. So what I've done is a bit of 2x1 there, and across the back, if you can see that, put another piece of 2x1 in to support it all, to keep it square, to keep it rigid. A couple of screws in the top, and that's solid. So we're actually going to do that with the front as well, and then that'll tie in these two units. So they're supported on the bottom right through. There's a flat surface going in there with holes cut in it, so where the rubber feet of the fridge sit, they will then sit in these holes. The holes will have timber underneath them, so there's still an air gap so the air can circulate. Or I might just screw cups in to place, so when I set the fridge in, it'll sit in these cups, a bit like furniture cups that you put on the bottom of chair legs and things like that. Or I may just put holes in, like I've said. What else was I going to do? Yeah, and then I'll make a drawer section that can be screwed in, or I may just put the runners on the inside of these two cabinets. I'll decide that later, but I need some strength in here. So again, I'm going to face it up exactly the same as this. I'm going to have a front piece, just like that back piece there, and a full length running through the top. This is just a brace at the minute, but if you look, I've marked it there. I'm going to cut that, cut a section out here, remove this part. Then I'm going to cut a section out for a piece of material to run right through. So this will be the draw stop. It'll come down here. So it'll look pretty much similar to this, but not as deep. This timber will be set further back. So this will act as a draw stop, and this is going to be a blank with a microwave, with a slot routed out for the microwave on magnetic clips, so you can remove it if you need to get it at the microwave if you spill something or something needs cleaned. The microwave, how am I going to hold that in? Well, this panel on the front that I'm going to put in will be made out of furniture board. There'll be a piece of timber to stop the microwave from tipping up and falling out. There'll be two timber battens on the side to position the microwave so it's centered. They will stop it sliding around as well. So I'm hoping that the weight of the microwave and the fact that it'll have timbers that secure it very, very tightly will stop it from moving. It won't be able to travel any further back. It'll line up with the front panel. The door will still open, and it should work and look fantastic. So let's get on with it. So a dry run just to make sure everything fits in, and it's looking pretty good. So we'll strip all the appliances out of it, take it to the van, make sure it fits in the van. Any final tweaks that need to be done to it will be done, and then we start making the cladding panels. Really, clad this end here, make the drawer box, make that drawer box, clad the front of them, make the cutout section for the microwave, and then make a drawer for there. So there is still a bottom to go in the fridge. The fridge is probably sitting a little higher than it's gonna be when we finish. So I just need to address that. We want to get a drawer in here, like a utensil drawer, just there. That's the only place we're really gonna have for anything like that. Yeah, it's looking good. Might have to trim this up because when you look at that gap, it's not going to be very deep, but in all honesty, that's probably deep enough for a drawer, utensil drawer. Yeah, we'll have a look. The two holes there and the piece of wood are the piece of wood is to locate the fridge in the right position, in the right place, right distance away from the side. The two holes are for the rubber feet to sit in, as this fridge comes with absolutely no way of securing it. Cabinet frames now are all painted black. As the appliances are black, I don't want any wood to be seen around the sides of them. So when it's all faced up with the furniture board, it'll look good. And any gaps that might grin through will just look like shadows. Well, that just shows you, doesn't it? Not everything goes to plan. I hope you enjoyed that video. It was one of the more challenging jobs that I had to do in the van, in all honesty. I just couldn't decide on a layout. And I think a lot of people struggle with this. It's a permanent fixture then. It's a decision that you have to make. You know you've got to make it, but it's that air of doubt, isn't it? So, as you saw there, I had to change my plans a couple of times. Won't be the last time either with this build. But if you're enjoying what we're doing and you're liking it, please consider subscribing. Please consider sharing it with your friends and liking the videos. It's been a bit of a exciting last few weeks. We're managing to get away in the van. Our subscriptions have gone up, but it'd be nice to get a few more. So thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.